Hello lovelies, and welcome back to a new video. And today I am filming my mental health Q&A. So if you guys didn't know, a few days ago I posted a video which I will link at the end of this video, just about like a general little chit chat about my experience with mental health and what I've been through with it, and a little bit of my views on stigma about it, and the fact that I want my channel and all my social media platforms to be a safe space. So a few days before that video I also tweeted asking you guys to send me some questions regarding mental health. I got so many responses, and I also got so many lovely messages, so thank you so much for all your questions and your lovely messages. I really appreciate it. I also asked people on my Snapchat and my Instagram as well. Both of those are actually personal, so my Instagram I always link at the bottom of my videos if people want to like follow me or whatnot. I don't really post books on there. I feel like if I start a bookstagram now, I'm just not gonna have enough time or like be able to 100% dedicate myself to my YouTube and my Twitter. But yeah, I also posted it on Snapchat and got some really cool questions from some really close friends as well. I thought it was great, as they also like get their questions answered too. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. I have my laptop here with the screenshots of my questions that people have asked me, because obviously I film on my phone, so I can't get the questions up on my phone. But yeah, let's just start the actual video. So the first question was from Catherine, and she asked me, what do you like to do when you're having a self-care day? So my self-care involves a lot of just doing what I feel like I want to do at that time. It's also, I mean, it's probably like a really girly thing, and for a lot of girls, my self-care days do involve like shaving my legs, moisturizing, face masks, hair masks, like a lot of like body and like skin routine stuff I do on my self-care days. I also just kind of like sit down and I'm just like, okay, what do I feel like doing? Do I want to sit and watch a few Disney films? Do I want to binge watch a TV show? Do I want to sit and read as many books as I can in one day? I tend to do whatever I feel like doing. I just make sure that like my phone is off, or like my social medias, like so like my Twitter, my Instagram, all of that stuff is like all the notifications and stuff are turned off, so I'm not like distracted by social media and stuff like that. I also make sure that even if like my boyfriend's here, like I'm having time on my own, because like as much as like you love someone and things like that, everybody needs a little bit of time by themselves, and just some downtime, whether that's to pick up a book, go for a run or whatever. Yeah, so I always make sure like I'm completely within myself when I'm having a self-care day, and I'm just doing things that I enjoy. I don't really have set things that I do. I just do things that I feel like I want to do that particular day, that particular time. For me, I feel like if I say like, oh, I have to do this on self-care days, it then becomes a chore for me and I then don't want to do it, and then I'll end up losing my self-care days. But yeah, hopefully that made sense. The next question was from my best friend. So hi Annie, lots of love. She messaged me on Snapchat and she asked me, explain how you deal with your mental health day to day, how you manage to cope and remain positive. So explain how strong and amazing you are and how much you smash your entire life's goals. Thanks for those lovely words, hun. I appreciate it. It's put a smile on my face. So like I mentioned in my mental health chat video, I have high functioning depression, so I will still go to work if I have to go to work and things like that. So on a day-to-day basis, like when I wake up in the morning, like I always set my alarm like 15 minutes before I actually have to get up, so I have time to just like let my body wake up, let my brain wake up, and I can just like say to myself like, right, today's a new day, let's get up, let's go and brush our teeth, make some breakfast and things like that. I also have a lot of grounding exercises that I use. if like I feel like I'm having a day that's worse than usual. So for example, if I'm walking to work or I'm meant to be leaving the house for whatever reason and I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling depressed, I might count all the things that are red, or I will like list all the things that I can hear or I can see, or things that I can smell. Like if I'm walking through the lanes where there's a lot of independent restaurants or like incense shops and things like that, I'll think about all the things that I can smell. That's what I do to like get through things day to day. I also like take breathers. I'll take 5 minutes like a few times throughout the day just to like sit down, relax, like maybe like go, I don't know, go on Twitter if I want to go on Twitter or something like that, and just like take some time out of the day just to like compose myself and compose my thoughts so I'm not like constantly running 24/7. It is really hard to remain positive, especially when you're in a depressive spiral. When I am in a depressive episode, obviously I find it hard to remain positive, so I tend to just tell myself that it's okay to feel the way that I'm feeling. Like if I'm feeling like the world is crap right now, like that's fine. But I just tell myself that I feel like that for now, but I won't feel like that forever. I mean, and it also helps when I have my like network of friends and family who are like sort of saying similar things to me, and they're being like, you will get out of it. And like I tell myself how the amount of times I've had depressive episodes in the past and I've got out of them then, like I can get out of it now, and things like that. I mean, I don't smash my entire life's goals. I've got a lot of life goals yet, like such as like being a child forensic psychologist. I'm still way off from that so far, but because I study something that I'm passionate about and something that I love, and I was lucky enough to discover a job role that I feel like is perfect for me, that's what gets me like through day-to-day things, like knowing that once like I've got through uni, once I've got through the next few years, I will be someone who is helping children deal with things, and I'll be having a positive impact on people's lives. That's what like gets me like through my goals, and like trying to make sure like I get high grades and stuff like that. Like I just want to be the best that I can be so that I'm able to help other people. Libby messaged me and asked me what my first experience was like talking to a professional about my mental health. It was really, really scary. So I didn't actually like speak to a professional until I was in A-levels, so I was like 17, 18 I think the first time, something like that. No, maybe like 15, 16 was when I first, yeah, so I didn't speak to like a proper like therapist counselor until I was 17, 18, like actually like go to regular sessions. But I used to use an online website from the age of like 15 called Kooth. I'll link Kooth down below in the description section because it is an amazing website. It's completely free and you can be anonymous if you want to be anonymous, and you can just talk to counsellors online. You do one-off session, you can go on as much as you want. So yeah, that's like great if you're like not ready to like go to a doctor or something yet. But for me, the first time I spoke to a professional was actually through one of my teachers at school. I was having really, really bad panic attacks at school, and I was like in her office every day. So in the end, she actually contacted CAMS for me, and put in a referral. And I also think I had to go to the doctor for them to sign off on it too. If you don't know what CAMS is, it's a child adolescent mental health services in the UK that's funded through the NHS. There can be a really long waiting list for it, especially the adult version. But I was lucky enough that we had a regular counsellor set to my school, and she came in like 2 times a week, and saw loads of different students across like the whole years, including like the secondary school and the sixth form. So I was lucky enough to get an appointment quite quickly because we had a regular person at the school, so my appointment was with her. But it scared the life out of me. I felt like I was the only person that was experiencing what I was experiencing, and I didn't feel like I could talk to my family about it, because I didn't want them to think that like, I don't know, I was messed up or something, or I didn't want my parents to think they'd done like a bad job raising me or like blame themselves or anything like that, because obviously they haven't. Like my parents are absolutely amazing and I love them. So yeah, it was really, really scary, and it wasn't didn't come off my own back, like it actually came off my teacher's, like my teacher having to tell me like what I was going through was something that like a lot of people go through, and it was okay, but like I needed to speak to someone about it. When I went to the doctors on my own for the first time, that was incredibly scary. I didn't tell my parents I was going. I just booked the doctor's appointment for one day after school, and I told my mum and dad that I had a doctor's appointment, but it was for something completely different that I'd had like doctor's appointments for ages ago, like a few years beforehand. And I went and I kind of broke down in my doctor's office. I was lucky enough to have such an amazing doctor. She was incredible. And when I explained to her what was going on, the fact that my school would wanted to refer me to CAMS, and the fact that like I just didn't know what to do anymore, she sat me down and she prescribed me antidepressants, which was the first time I went on them, which was again hella scary, but I'll talk about that like later on. But yeah, I was lucky enough to have a really understanding doctor, and the first time I spoke to my counsellor as well, about how I was feeling, like I kind of just like, I was really quiet and reserved the first like half of our session, and then by the second half where I like got more comfortable and stuff, I literally like everything started coming out like word vomit, because I didn't never spoke about it before, and it felt so good to just get it out. And the mental health professional that I was speaking to, she was like, she was amazing. Again, like I've been so lucky to have such an incredible support network through mental health professionals. She like just reassured me that I wasn't on my own with the way I was feeling and things like that, and she helped me come to terms with what I was going through. One of my friends over on Snapchat, she asked me how did I know it was time to get help, and how did I go about getting that help. For me, it was when like my self-harm was really really bad. No one in my family had known at the time, and I literally was like, it was just all I could think about doing, and to me it was like this isn't normal. I shouldn't be wanting to hurt myself this much. And it was also like some of my friends, and again the same teacher at school, like coming up to me and being like, Chloe, like what's going on with you, like you're acting completely different. Like I was obviously wearing long sleeves in summer, and like we used to have to wear skirts at school, and in summer I would wear thick woolly tights so like no one could see anything on my legs or anything like that. Like it wasn't until other people sort of like spotted it, and they were like, they kind of called me out on it, that I was like, okay, yeah, I really need to get help now. And then again, like spoke to my school teacher about it. She gave me the CAMS referral, I went to the doctors, and like that whole thing that I just spoke about. But yeah, it took for me to get really bad, for me to actually realize something was wrong. My friend Carly tweeted me and she asked, has meditation ever been a part of your recovery? If so, what did you use to meditate / how? I don't meditate so much now. When I was living at home and I was in like end of GCSEs and A levels, all I heard about was meditation. I'd never heard of like CBT so much and things like that until I started psychology A level. So I used meditation thinking it was like a therapy, and it was going to fix all my problems. Meditation does not work like that. It's not going to outright like fix all your problems. Meditation will help you with things like grounding yourself, keeping you like in the then and now. Like if you're in an anxiety or a depression spiral, sometimes meditation can help you come back down to earth, because you like with meditation you're focusing on your body, you try and empty your thoughts and things like that. I just like, when I started trying to do meditation, I just used a lot of Google, just to find out how to meditate. There's a lot of apps on the App Store as well. I can't remember the name of the one that I used. I think it was like had an orange picture on it. I don't know if it's still in the App Store now. I no longer have the app. And there's also one that's out now called Breathe. That one I've heard amazing reviews of. I've never used it, but a lot of people use it and I've had amazing reviews with it. I am someone who is very impatient, so I really struggled with meditation, because I was just like, I can't do it. Like I couldn't sit there. I couldn't have my mind be empty. It just wasn't working for me. So I kind of gave up on it for a while. But I got back into it when I was like 18, like towards the end of A level. I would try and meditate every night before I went to bed. Even if it wasn't like full meditation, I would just like turn all my electronic devices off, including my TV. I would just sort of like sit on my bed, sit up straight and just breathe, and just spend like 5-10 minutes just like focusing on my breathing. I really struggled with like the focusing on different parts of your body, like part of meditation. And that's because I'm not a fan of my body. So when I had to sit there and I was like, oh, like think about like the feelings in your legs or the feelings in your stomach and things like that, I couldn't focus on that. I could focus on like, to me, like, oh, no, my stomach is big, or oh, my thighs are big. So I didn't do that part of meditation. I just focused on my breathing in general, and where I was just focusing on my breathing, my mind then became empty, if that makes sense. So I kind of just started like doing my own version of meditation, which I still do now sometimes before I go to sleep. So I don't do like full meditation. I do like a mini meditation, I'd guess. Like I just do like a breathing focus exercises, but I found that really helps me keep grounded. I've also had a question by my friend on Snapchat again, about my general experience with antidepressants and how I found adjustment. So adjustment was a very difficult period of my life. I didn't get out of bed. I was my main adjustment was, so I started taking antidepressants just after my A-level exams, because after this discussion with my doctor, we spoke about adjustment. I'd already known about it from studying psychology. When we spoke about adjustment, I said to her how I was worried that how adjustment would affect me during sitting my A-level exams. So we made an agreement to not take the antidepressants until after my exams. So I started them like 1 or 2 days after my exams. A week after starting them, I was really like, I started struggling literally, like, I mean, people don't believe me when I say this, but I literally started struggling like 2 or 3 days after I started taking them. But a week after I started taking them, I started my new job, which is a job I'm currently in, like a job in Sainsbury's, and I had to go to work every day, purely because like I was new at my job. I was in a probation period, but my mum also was like, right, you need to go to work. So I literally would go to work, but I would feel completely empty at work. Like I would like laugh and joke with people, but I wouldn't feel like I was actually present there. And then like a few weeks later, I went on holiday with my 2 best friends from school. We went to Marbella, and before you say it, no, it wasn't a typical girls' party holiday. It was literally sitting, like being in an apartment by a pool for a whole week every day, like cocktails in the evening, just like relaxing after what we'd been through with A-levels. And adjustment kind of ruined my holiday. I felt like really disconnected whilst I was there. I would go again 100%. This time without going through adjustment. Like there was one day of my holiday where I literally was in bed most of the day. Like I had the curtains closed and everything. Like I missed a whole day because of adjustment, which really upset me. So it did really affect my holiday. I felt quite alone on my holiday, even though I wasn't, and it wasn't anything to do with my friends or anything like that. Like it was just like I was so stuck in my head because of adjustment. Which like if I could do it again, like I would be on that holiday either after I'd been through adjustment or before I would started taking the antidepressants, because unfortunately adjustment did ruin it for me. But But I still like the holiday is still like one of my favorite memories. Like everything we did on that holiday, like it's like one of my favorite holidays I've ever been on. I'm just so sad that I couldn't like completely make the most of it because adjustment and antidepressants did hold me back a bit. But I was on antidepressants overall for like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. But I combined them with therapy when I came to university, and that's what helped me get off of them. Therapy, I so this makes me sound really privileged, but I had private therapy. So I got to a point where I wasn't going to uni or anything like that. Like my depression got so bad in first year, and I kind of said to myself, like, I need help. Like there is no way in hell I can keep paying £9.5 a year to just be in my bed. Like it's not feasible. It's a waste of money. I can't afford to do that. Like if I'm just gonna keep doing that, I might as well just quit uni. So I went on a website called BetterHelp, and I got set up with a therapist on there. I told them I was a student, which got the price discounted for me. And then I basically started working like 5-6 days a week just to pay for my therapy. I started working in my job more than I was like doing any uni work, which I mean, I don't recommend doing that when you're at university. Your uni work should be your priority. Like that's what you're there for. You're there to study. But I did that. I worked a crazy amount. Like my friends and my family like never saw me because I was always working, just to pay for my therapy. And that combined with the antidepressants is what really helped me like get to the point I am now. Because the antidepressants gave me enough energy to engage with therapy, and then therapy gave me the tools and the understanding of what I deal with, why I have what I have, and techniques to use it, things like that. I do want to say antidepressants will not fix your problem. They're not designed to. They're designed to make it a little bit easier for you to get out of bed every day and for you to engage with things in your daily life. You will not be cured through antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, antipsychotics. Like you have to work really, really hard to get to a good place when you have mental health issues. Like it's, as harsh as it sounds, it's the only way to explain it. You have to work hard, and it is the most difficult thing that you will ever do in your life if you have to do it. It's still to this day the hardest thing I've ever done. But it's the thing in my life that has given me the most rewards. My friend Emma messaged me on Twitter and she said, from your experience and psych knowledge, do you feel that CBT was the best for you, or would you have preferred to have been offered other therapies that are discussed through psych, like intrapersonal therapy or anything else? That is such a good question. I actually love this question. So I wasn't a fan of CBT. CBT can really, really help people, but I hated it. It didn't help me. If you don't know, CBT stands for cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's all about sort of like counteracting your negative thoughts, and it's used for multiple mental illnesses, like such as all the forms of depression, anxieties, OCD. They sometimes use it with ADHD. They sometimes use it with bipolar disorder. Like it basically seems to be like the foundation therapy like everyone gets when they have some kind of mental illness. And CBT doesn't work for everyone. Like I said, it doesn't work for me. It centers around the here and now, and my issue with my depression at the time wasn't about the here and now. It was about things that had happened to me in my past that I'd never dealt with. So it literally did nothing for me. So I stopped CBT. I ended up having just general talking therapy. So I would just like talk to my therapist, especially when I was in therapy at uni. I would just talk to my therapist about what I'd gone through or just how I was feeling, and then we'd like break it down and be like, right, I'm not just randomly feeling this way, I'm feeling this way because this has triggered that, or things like this. Like her techniques and the talking therapy I had in university was actually how I discovered the root cause of my anxiety, um, and what actually caused me to have my first ever panic attack, and what gave me the mental illness. So now I'm able to control it a lot better. I don't get anxious that often anymore. So talking therapy was kind of the best for me. So it's kind of like a psychotherapy, because it was very much like looking at my past. I feel like that was best for me. I feel like CBT only really helps those who haven't had a mental illness like for as long as I did, but maybe also for those who struggle more in the here and now than having their mental illnesses caused by the past, or like past experiences. Don't get me wrong, like learning about the root causes of it doesn't fix it. It just helps you understand it more, so you end up not blaming yourself as well. Like sometimes it helps you know that there is a reason for the way you're feeling, and that's okay. And then sometimes, yeah, after that, CBT can help. I still sometimes use CBT techniques. So if I'm having a bad day, I will write my negative thoughts down on one side of a page and then counteract them with like more positive thoughts on the other side of a page. So for example, I might write down like, oh, my tummy's really bloated, like I hate myself, I feel really fat. And then on the other side, I might write like, you know, I came on my period today, like, yeah, that's natural to be bloated, and I'm not fat and I'm not overweight because like I'm healthy, I'm like my body is working fine, I'm not huge, my doctor hasn't told me I'm obese or I'm in any danger, so like my weight is fine. Question that I'm gonna answer is again from Emma, but I'm gonna save this. I saved this one till last because it's about books. I feel like can be like a special one. But she asked me, what do you think about the representation of mental illness in books overall? And also in regard to my experience. I feel like mental health can be sometimes really underrepresented in books. I feel like some books I have read, I can't remember names off the top of my head, but some books I have read, I have sat there and been like, you've literally just given me the most general stuff that I could just Google and find out. Whereas there is a book called Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, which has like trigger warnings for self-harm, rape, suicide. Like, honestly, do not read that book if you are not in a good place. But that book to me was the realest representation I've ever seen of self-harm. Turtles All the Way Down by John Green is the only book I've seen that has quite a good representation of someone who has themes of being a hypochondriac as well as OCD. So like there are some books out there, but I feel like the authors that write those books have either experienced it themselves, known someone who's experienced it, or have really done a lot of research. I'm glad that mental health books are starting to get a lot of recognition, and are becoming like more common in people's everyday reads, as I feel like it used to be really underrepresented in the book world. Don't get me wrong, there are still many genres that aren't recognised as enough as they should be, but mental health books are starting to get the recognition that they deserve, but to me they're just not getting enough. I mean, the representations can be really disheartening when they're really wrong. I've read a few books about depression where they literally just like make it so general. They're just like, oh, she didn't get out of bed, she didn't shower, she felt really bad about herself, and then this person came in and told her that she will be fine, so she got up and she did everything. Like, it doesn't work like that. So it does like really annoy and upset me when it's not represented properly, and like when it can sometimes make a mental illness out to be something a lot less than what it is. And I feel like if you are going to write a book about mental health, then you really need to make sure that you completely understand the condition that you are writing about, and that You also have people there to support you when you're writing it, because it's a difficult thing to write. It's difficult to read, especially if it's something that can be quite triggering for you. But yeah, we need more mental health books, and more that are properly representative of loads of different mental health conditions, not just anxiety or depression. That's it for this video. If you guys have any more questions you want to ask me, you are more than welcome to. All my social media links are down below, and you can also message me in the comments, and I will do a part 2 if you guys want a part 2. But yeah, if you liked this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share, and I will see you guys with a new video very soon.